Some rifles don't just fire bullets, they fire history straight into your shoulder. These are not safe queen showpieces locked behind glass. These are working legends, forged in war, carried by soldiers who marched through hell and left their mark on every inch of steel and walnut. In 2025, these battle-tested relics are not just memories. They remain legal, shootable, and gloriously loud parts of the modern civilian firearm world. Collectors chase them. Shooters respect them. Every scratch and burn mark whispers a story. These are the rifles that shaped the 20th century, now available to anyone with curiosity, the paperwork, and a little pocket money. Today's countdown is not just another top 10 list. It's a tribute to function, form, and firepower. From Soviet tanks to Pacific jungles to the beaches of Normandy, this is the definitive list of the top World War II rifles civilians can legally own in 2025. The Springfield M1903 began its service in 1903 and stayed relevant all the way through World War II. Built with a Mauser-style action, it featured a 5-round internal magazine, a 24-inch barrel, and chambered the powerful .30-06 Springfield cartridge. The standard iron sights were excellent for the period, and sniper variants came equipped with scopes like the 1908 Warner and Swayze, or later the M73B1. During World War II, the M1903 was issued to Marine Corps riflemen in the Pacific and served as a sniper rifle in both the European and Pacific theaters. Its bolt operation is smooth and robust, and it maintains tight tolerances that allow for remarkable accuracy, even by modern standards. The rifle is heavy, made almost entirely of steel and walnut, and it handles recoil like a champ. As of 2025, civilians in the United States can still purchase the M1903 legally through the Civilian Marksmanship Program, as well as on the secondary market through FFL dealers, auctions, and CNR license transfers. It is classified by the ATF as a Curio and Relic firearm, which means collectors can obtain and own it with relatively little restriction compared to modern tactical firearms. Shooting a Springfield M1903 today is not about blasting through magazines. It is about patience, control, and feeling the rifle settle into your shoulder the way it did for American marksmen over 80 years ago. Its voice remains steady and measured, built for those who admire timeless craftsmanship and historical precision. The Gewehr 43, officially designated G43, was Germany's attempt to catch up with the semi-automatic race late in World War II. Entering production in 1943, it used a short-stroke gas piston system inspired by the Soviet SVT-40 and retained a rotating bolt for strength and reliability. It chambered the potent 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser round, fed from a detachable 10-round box magazine, and featured a 21.5-inch barrel with iron sights calibrated up to 1/200 meters. The G43 was issued in limited numbers due to production constraints, with many units heading to the Eastern Front. Wartime examples often show rough machining, due to Germany's dwindling resources and pressure to equip troops quickly. Despite this, the rifle performed well when maintained and was often fitted with a ZF4 scope for designated marksmen. In 2025, the G43 remains a highly collectible rifle in the United States. Original examples are considered Curio and Relic firearms under ATF classification, meaning they are legally obtainable by civilians with either a standard 4473 background check or a CNR license. However, they are rare and expensive, with most available rifles being Russian captures, often with mismatched parts and electro-penciled serial numbers. Prices can range from $2,500 to well over $4,000, depending on condition and originality. Owning a G43 is like holding a piece of late-war German desperation engineering. It is not delicate, not particularly elegant, but brutally effective and endlessly fascinating. It stands as one of the few semi-automatic rifles from World War II still available to collectors and shooters today. If you can handle the recoil and the price tag, the M1 Garand changed the way infantry fought. Adopted by the U.S. military in 1936, it became the standard service rifle through World War II, Korea, and even into the early years of Vietnam. It fires the full-power .30-06 Springfield cartridge from an 8-round en-bloc clip, automatically ejecting the clip with that satisfying ping that every shooter remembers. The Garand uses a gas-operated rotating bolt system that cycles reliably, even under battlefield stress. With a 24-inch barrel and iron sights calibrated out to 1/200 yards, it was a major leap forward from bolt-action rifles. General George Patton famously called it the greatest battle implement ever devised. And for good reason. American infantry had a real firepower advantage over enemies still using bolt guns, and the Garand's performance in Europe and the Pacific proved it. As of 2025, U.S. civilians can still purchase authentic M1 Garand rifles legally through the Civilian Marksmanship Program. The CMP remains the most trusted source, offering rifles inspected and graded for condition, from field grade to collector grade. Outside of CMP, Garands are widely available through auctions, FFL dealers, and private sales. It is classified as a non-NFA, Curio and Relic eligible firearm, and legal in most U.S. states. At the range, the M1 Garand delivers a distinctive experience. The recoil is firm but manageable. The sights are crisp, and the trigger breaks cleanly. It is not just a war relic. It is a living piece of American military legacy, still ready to bark fire after nearly a century of service. The Carbine 98K, often abbreviated as K98K, is the definitive German bolt-action rifle of World War II. Introduced in 1935, it evolved from earlier Mauser models and became the standard infantry weapon of the Wehrmacht, chambered in 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser. It features a 5-round internal magazine, a 23.6-inch barrel, and iron sights adjustable up to 2,000 meters. Ambitious, but typically used well below that. The K98K is renowned for its rock-solid bolt action, smooth cycling, and consistent accuracy. It was battle-tested across every front, from the deserts of North Africa to the bitter cold of Stalingrad. German attention to mechanical precision made this rifle a serious marksman's tool. It also inspired post-war designs across multiple countries and remains one of the most widely studied bolt-action systems in firearms history. Today in the U.S., civilians can legally purchase authentic K98K rifles through licensed dealers, auctions, and private sales. Most examples on the market are Russian capture variants that were reassembled and occasionally marked with electro-penciled serials, while pure, all-matching German wartime models are increasingly rare and command high prices. Functional surplus examples are still accessible for enthusiasts under ATF Curio and Relic status. Owning a K98K in 2025 is like owning the blueprint for the modern bolt-action rifle. It is smooth, deliberate, and deceptively powerful. This is not a rifle for rapid fire. It is for those who enjoy precision, mechanics, and the feel of true wartime engineering in their hands. The SVT-40, or Samozarядная Винтовка Tokarev Model 1940, represented the Soviet Union's push into semi-automatic rifle technology. It featured a short-stroke gas piston, a tilting bolt, and a 10-round detachable box magazine, all wrapped in a 7.62 by 54R chambering that packed a hard punch. The rifle weighed just under 9 pounds and had a 26.5-inch barrel, offering reach and power well beyond most battle rifles of the time. Originally intended to replace the Mosin-Nagant, the SVT-40 was issued to elite units and frontline troops, especially early in the war. However, it proved complicated to maintain in battlefield conditions and was eventually produced in fewer numbers. Despite its drawbacks, it showed real innovation. It allowed faster follow-up shots than any Soviet bolt-action rifle, and its sights were advanced for their era, adjustable from 100 to 1,500 meters. In 2025, SVT-40 rifles are classified as non-NFA, Curio and Relic eligible firearms, and are legal in most U.S. states. Original wartime models are rare and typically imported from Finland or Eastern Europe. Ammunition remains available due to its compatibility with Mosin-Nagant rifles, though modern commercial loads can wear the rifle's internals if not handled carefully. Shooting the SVT-40 today feels like unlocking a glimpse into what the Soviet military might have become if wartime logistics had allowed it. It is long, loud, and brutal in recoil, but the rifle remains one of the few semi-automatics from World War II that civilians can still fire with pride and just the right amount of bruising. Number 5. Carano M9138, Italy. The Carano M9138 was the standard issue rifle for Italian infantry during the later years of World War II, chambered in 6. 5,50 meter Carano and using a 6-round unblocked clip. The rifle offered a straight profile, fixed sights, and compact length, with a 21-inch barrel and a total weight of about 7 pounds. It is shorter and lighter than most contemporaries, making it more maneuverable in close terrain. The action is a simple bolt mechanism based on the earlier 1891 Carano, with some wartime simplifications. It lacks the refined machining of German or American rifles, but it was functional and cheap to produce. Despite its unflattering reputation, partially due to its association with the JFK assassination, the M9138 served extensively on the European and North African fronts. Millions were manufactured, and a wide range of variants exist. As of 2025, the Carano M9138 is legal for civilian ownership in the United States, classified as a non-NFA, Curio and Relic eligible firearm. Many surplus rifles are still sold through online dealers, gun shows, or C&R license transfers. Ammunition can be more difficult to find, but commercial sources such as Parvi Partisan continue to produce it, and hand-loading remains an option for enthusiasts. The M9138 may not win beauty contests, but it is one of the most affordable and accessible World War II rifles on the surplus market. Holding one is like gripping a piece of Europe's forgotten corners, rugged, unpolished, but entirely real. The Arisaka Type 99 was Japan's standard infantry rifle introduced during the early 1940s, intended to replace the older Type 38. It fires the 7.7 by 58 mm Japanese cartridge, which delivers more energy than the 6.5 mm it replaced, and it uses a 5-round internal magazine fed by stripper clips. The rifle weighs approximately 8.2 pounds and has a 25.9-inch barrel, giving it solid velocity and reach on the battlefield. Its bolt-action system is based on the Mauser pattern, but its strength is often considered superior. Many Arisaka rifles were proof-tested to extreme pressures and survived well beyond standard limits. Wartime versions often feature aircraft-style anti-air sights, monopods, and a chromed bore, especially in earlier production runs. Late war examples saw reduced finish quality but kept core functionality intact. In 2025, the Type 99 remains a legal, non-NFA, Curio and Relic eligible rifle available to U.S. civilians. Surplus examples regularly appear through auctions, collectors, and online firearm markets. Ammunition is less common but still produced by select manufacturers like PPU, and reloading supplies are available for dedicated shooters. Some models still have the chrysanthemum crest intact, a symbol of imperial ownership that adds significant collector appeal. Arisaka is rugged, often overlooked, and historically rich. It may not have the smoothest bolt, but it certainly has one of the strongest. Holding one brings you into the mindset of Pacific warfare, unforgiving, determined, and built to endure what others would not. The Lee-Enfield No. 4 Mk I served as the backbone of the British infantry during World War II. This rifle fires the powerful .303 British cartridge, feeds from a detachable 10-round magazine, and operates using a cock-on-close bolt-action system that delivers an unmatched rate of fire among World War II bolt guns. The barrel measures 25.2 inches, and the rifle weighs about 9 pounds loaded. It was fielded across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific, admired for its speed and reliability in the harshest conditions. The rifle's aperture sights, with a robust flip-up ladder rear sight, allow for precise aiming even in the muddiest of trenches. Its action is smooth, fast, and designed for rapid follow-up shots, often described as the fastest cycling bolt-action system of the war. By 2025, the No. 4 Mk I remains widely available to civilians in the United States, legally classified as a non-NFA, Curio and Relic firearm. Surplus models are found through importers, online dealers, and gun shows. Ammunition is still manufactured by companies such as Cellier and Bellet and PPU, and reloaders have ample brass and bullet options. The Lee-Enfield does not whisper when you cycle it. It speaks with authority. It is not just a British rifle. It is a Commonwealth icon that blends smooth handling with serious combat pedigree. If you enjoy fast shooting with old-world charm, this one earns its spot in your safe and on your shoulder. The Mosin-Nagant M9130 is the hammer and anvil of Soviet wartime firepower. First adopted in 1891 and refined into the M9130 by 1930, this bolt-action rifle, chambered in 7.62 by 54R, became the backbone of the Red Army during World War II, with a 5-round internal magazine, a 28, 7-inch barrel, and an overall length of nearly 49 inches. It is neither compact nor subtle, but it was never designed to be either. The rifle delivers brutal simplicity. Its long barrel rings solid velocity from the 7.62 by 54R cartridge, while the bolt action, though stiff by modern standards, is durable enough to function in mud, snow, or sand. Soviet soldiers often had to rely on these rifles in the harshest imaginable conditions, and the M9130 delivered with consistency and punishing noise. In 2025, the Mosin-Nagant M9130 remains one of the most affordable and legally accessible World War II rifles in the United States. It is classified as a non-NFA, Curio and Relic eligible firearm, and available through dealers, online sales, and private transfers. Ammunition remains widely produced thanks to continued use in machine guns and sporting rifles, and surplus loads are still floating around in spam cans. Shooting a Mosin today is an experience. The recoil is intense, the bolt is stubborn, and the sound is pure Soviet thunder. It is ugly, heavy, and wonderfully honest. This is a rifle that laughs at modern ergonomics and still outlasts many of them. The M1 Carbine earned its reputation not by sheer power, but by doing exactly what it was built to do. Give American troops a lightweight, semi-automatic rifle that was easier to carry than the Garand but more capable than a pistol. Adopted in 1942, the M1 Carbine fires the .30 carbine cartridge from a detachable 15-round box magazine. It weighs only 5.2 pounds unloaded and features an 18-inch barrel that keeps the package nimble without sacrificing effectiveness at typical combat ranges. Originally issued to paratroopers, officers, support troops, and later frontline infantry, the M1 Carbine became a favorite for its fast handling and mild recoil. It is not a battle rifle in the traditional sense, but it fills its own role with precision. Later variants, like the M1A1 with folding stock, made it even more desirable for airborne operations. By 2025, M1 carbines are readily available to civilians through the Civilian Marksmanship Program, surplus vendors, and gun shops across the United States. They are legal in most states, non-NFA, and Curio and Relic eligible. Ammunition is still produced by multiple manufacturers, and magazines are widely available. Shooting an M1 carbine feels natural. It points well, cycles smoothly, and offers a piece of World War II history in a compact, shoulder-friendly form. It is the kind of rifle you can actually enjoy using regularly. Light enough to carry, simple enough to maintain, and historically important enough to earn the top spot on this list. Some rifles whisper through history, others kick the door open, drop 5 pounds of hardwood and steel on the table, and dare you to pick them up. Every piece on this list was carried by real soldiers in real battles, and the fact that you can still hold them, shoot them, and keep them ticking in 2025 is something worth appreciating. This was not about building a museum. It was about keeping these rifles alive, not locked behind glass, but in the hands of people who still care how a bolt feels or how a trigger breaks. If one of these rifles brought back memories, sparked your curiosity, or reminded you of something sitting in your safe right now, hit that like button, drop a comment, and let me know which one you'd take to the range first. I've got more lists, more rifles, and more stories coming soon. Until next time, keep your bore clean and your bolts smooth. See you in the next video.